What's going on, everybody? This is AJ Capasso here, host and founder of Talking with the Source. We are back with another episode, and I'm here with my good friend.
Ho, 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 it's Robin from Paranormal.
Oh, my freaking gosh. Oh, my. These are the friends that I have, people. Do you see this moron? Only you. And I just want to let everyone know who's watching right now. He wanted me to wait for him with the camera off just so he could do that ho, ho, ho with the hat on. Only him. And he talks about me on this podcast. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Sorry for stealing the hubby. Paracrew Podcast. What's going on, everybody? And even they mentioned, look at the hat. Laugh my ass off. Love you, brother. Yep, only him. Well, guys, today I want to just do a quick shout out. This episode is sponsored by my good friend over at Dragon Novelties. Let me pull them up right now. Dragon Novelties. Head over to Facebook.
Friends.
Check out. Yes, I actually do have friends. But
Bloody
anyway,
hell.
Screw you. Anyway, head over to Dragon Novelties on Facebook. Check them out. If you like collectibles, anime, all different type of stuff like that, head over there. My buddy's got some amazing stuff. You could buy right online through the store. It is located, if you are in the Connecticut, USA area, it's located right in the Meriden Mall. So you can head there as well. Hey, since we're in this laughing joke spirit, I just want to post this because I posted this on my wall today. I thought it was pretty funny.
Before you do.
Hi, I'm Jason, and this is my Momoa.
Oh my God. Brother Matt's in the audience.
Well, listen. We got a great guest today. I want to bring him on. We've been holding him in the back for too long. His name is Nando Desario. He's a portal to the paranormal. I want to bring him on right now. He's a brother, a great friend.
In the UK.
Amazing people. What is up, Nando?
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
How you been, brother?
I'm really well. How you guing been?
I'm losing the hat.
I'm Jason, and this is my Momoa. I'm sorry. I had to throw that out there. One thing I want to do,
I'm sorry about this, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? If I have to put up with you with a Santa hat and you can't put up with me for 2 seconds with a "Hi, I'm Jason Momoa" meme, then you know what? I don't like you anymore. You know what? I used to have really high hopes for the UK people, but now you have totally brought down that hope.
You can't live without me. You need me.
You're right. All right, I'll give it to you. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to actually bring something up real quick. This is something that me and you were talking about in the back, Nando, and I think this was something that I saw today that was a really important way just to remind people during this Christmas holiday. It says, oh no, sorry, not that one. There was another one. Apologies. There's another one that basically stated that everyone's on their own journey. You don't know what somebody's going through. So, just be nice. You know what I mean? Basically, that's, in a nutshell, and I just thought that was very important during this Christmas holiday, man, to bring up and just, remind everyone, we're all going through some stuff. We all have had some crappy couple of years with COVID and just everything with family. And I know a lot of us have lost a lot of people. So, you never know what someone's going through. So just, give them the time of day and
apologies as well to everybody that we haven't been on for a few weeks.
Yes, absolutely. Apologies for that. But we are back with Nando right now. I'm super happy we're able to reschedule him. So, Nando, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, to be honest, I've been with Portal to the Paranormal since 2020. Daniel Winter started up the group. I initially was there to do like event planning, like get events booked on, look for locations to go and film, investigate. But to be honest, I wanted to get more into it because my wife Sarah's been in the paranormal for over nearly 10 years now, I would say, maybe just a bit under. And at first, and I think I've said this to you before, AJ, I used to call them the Ghostbusters, going playing with their Ghostbuster friends.
Yep, you said it.
But the thing is, as we grow up in life, things happen, don't they? I think a lot of people that are in this field is because a high majority, I would say, have had some experiences that they can't explain.
Yep.
And I've had that as well. I'm not no medium or anything like that, but certain things makes you think. And then as you grow up in life, you sort of forget about those things. And then I think where it was reintroduced to me with Portal to the Paranormal, I thought, you know what? I want to do more into it and see what we can document, what we can get as evidence, and see how much is real and how much is fake, if you get what I'm saying. So that's what got me into being part of Portal to the Paranormal.
I think a lot of us are nearly sort of pushed into it, really, aren't we? Because not by anybody in particular, but by, like you said, Nando, events that happen. Something will happen, and we'll have an experience, or something will happen that you think, right, I need to look at this. I need to look at this more because this has happened, and before you know it, you're caught up in it, and you can't sort of get out, can you? Not that you want to.
It is certain things. I'll give you an example. When when I was much younger, I think I must have been about 9 years old. I had a fear of sleeping in the dark, like a real terrible fear of it.
And now you're a paranormal investigator,
yeah, I know. Tell me about it. But do you know what? There was one night I was laying in bed, and my grandmother had died quite early on in her late 50s. And I woke up and she was literally sat next to me, like literally. But she wasn't the older grandmother that I remember. It was the picture that's on her headstone in the graveyard. She was quite young, beautiful, and she had this glow about her. And I think it's things like that. Things have happened, but as you grow up, I don't know if it's not people tell you not to believe it, but you sort of grow up and you do your own thing. And and there's been a few occasions where specific family members, for me, I've always had, I would say, visits from family members, my grandfather, my grandmother. And I think just being part of Portal to the Paranormal has allowed me to, sort of understand the paranormal field a lot more than what I did before. Because like I said, before Sarah got into it, I just didn't, not that I didn't believe it. Maybe it was partly you're scared of it. I do think people are scared of the unknown, so they turn their head to it and say it's fake. Yeah. It's a load of cobs wallop and all that. But things have happened, and I got given an opportunity. I've taken it, and I've loved it ever since.
I think we're all the same in that respect.
I tell you what, you're right. I think a lot of people, especially for me, I mean, because I was the same way as you, man. I didn't believe it all. Like until I had my experience, my near-death stuff, and my own experiences, I didn't believe it all. I mean, I was totally against it. I mean, I had a fear of demons because I was a Christian, and stuff like that, and I believed in an afterlife. But when it came to paranormal and stuff like that, I totally lost all hope after I lost my grandfather when I was 12, and I just never crossed my mind until I started having these things happen. And you know what? I was actually terrified. And you're right. I think a lot of people are scared. That's why they choose not to, they should do that. Am I cutting in and out?
No,
you're fine.
I forgot to shut my notifications off, so I've been seeing a couple pop up, and I see Nando smile, so I'm thinking to myself, like, well, I must be cutting in and out as I'm talking.
No, I'm just taking it in. I'm just saying.
I think you're right, though.
Hey, hold on. I want to say what's up to Anthony real quick. This is going to be our next guest on here, Wraith World Podcast. Check him out. Wraith Hunters, you guys are awesome. So just keep up the good work, guys. But go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm just saying, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we all have these events that happen. I mean, I never, I watched the programs on TV and stuff like that, Most Haunted and things like that. But, as much as I was intrigued by it, I never ever seen myself doing it. And it was just something that to me was out there for certain people to do, and obviously I wasn't one of them. And then it's like something, like I say, something happens, and my experience that time I was telling you about seeing that little girl, and for some reason I felt I need to sit in that room in the dark, and I was basically taken away, and the stuff that she told me, for it to be absolutely spot on when I look back in records, it's like, I remember my mother-in-law saying to me, "You've got to do this." And I was like, I do, I really have, because I can't ignore that, I've picked up on an exact year. I've picked up on 3 names, which was the little girl's first name, middle name, and surname. I can't, to me, I couldn't just think, right, that's something that's happened and walk away. Things like this happen, like with you, AJ, and even Nando. These things sort of happen, and when you sort of, for want of a better word, when you dial into it a little bit, it's like you get that sort of bug, don't you? It's like you're like, I can't not do this.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
There is sorry, go ahead, Nando. I'm on apology. I wanted to. No, I was there was something I wanted to actually ask you about the thing you told us experienced by your grandmother, but I wanted to hear what you were going to say to what Robin said first.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with Robin what he's saying. Like, you sort of delve into it. Not when I joined PTTP, it was more of a something in the background for me, something to do while I'm at home. When I haven't got a lot to do. But I think we went on an investigation, and it was really exciting. There's stuff that I'm sure we'll go into it. Different experiments, different equipment, and you're sort of learning about it, and then you start developing your own sort of techniques and what you believe in, what you don't particularly don't believe, but you don't think it's for you. Do you know what I mean? You got to find those techniques that suit you to be a good paranormal investigator. So yeah, but once I got into it, it was just like, what we doing next? Who's the next person we're gonna? Because Sarah come up with the idea of doing the podcast. And it just went on from there. And the more people you get to speak to, the more you're learning. And I think the paranormal field, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all opinion based, and we all need to respect. Firstly, I must say, it can be quite bitchy, and I apologize if people don't agree with this, but in my opinion, it can be quite bitchy. But what people need to remember, we all have different backgrounds, different beliefs, and we just need to respect it for what it is. No one means any disrespect. It's just how people have developed their own ways in the paranormal field. But yeah, once I got into it, I love doing it now. I love doing it more than a normal job. It's
right.
It's absolutely brilliant.
It's addicting. It's addicting.
It is. It's one of them things as well. When you first start off, like me, after that event with me, it was like, well, let's go and have a look at a couple of buildings and stuff. But then, I wasn't even recording. I was just walking around them, like abandoned buildings and stuff. And then it was like, I might record 1 or 2, and then it goes on from that. And then, my daughter, she does urban exploring, and she was like, well, why don't you start a YouTube? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. And she's like, no. So she pushed me towards that. And then, I never had the inkling I was ever going to do a podcast until I met AJ. And then it was like, then it was like being, pushed towards, right, let's do a podcast. And, and before you know it, you're talking to people from all around the world. You make these totally amazing friends from all corners of the world. I mean, AJ, he's like a brother to me, and I've never even met him in person. It's only over the phone. But
thank God. No.
But, then you've spent, before you know it, you've spent hundreds of pounds on all this equipment. Yeah. You've got this YouTube channel where you've got so many videos on it. You've got all these people who watch all these videos. You got people sending you different locations and asking you to come and do their houses and stuff. And before you know it, it's like you're trying to get a minute for yourself, and you look back and think, this only ever started as a little sideline, and it's like, before you know it, it's like, boom, it's your whole life.
You're right, and it's even things like when you're saying about the podcast as well. Sarah initially started the Thriller podcast. They were doing something during the lockdown period. We were trying to connect with people because that was really hard. A lot of people being stuck indoors, not being able to see family. So we did like a games night. Sarah did a great quiz, and then by chance she managed to get. I'm not sure of his background. I think he might have been like some kind of demonologist or something along those lines. And it's just built. But now it's built to the stage where we're connecting together, where AJ messages me, would you be a co-host, for example? Yeah. So it's not just the fact that we're doing our own thing. We're actually adapting to other people and we're working with other people. We had the pleasure of having Brian Laverty come down to the UK. You know, so it just shows how powerful. People might laugh about us doing the paranormal field, but in some aspects, we're a lot stronger than what other fields are. We connect in ways that other fields are not connecting. No, you know what I mean?
Right. You're right. You know, I mean, dude, I totally agree with what you're saying. I totally agree with what you're saying because you're right. There's a great connection aspect in the paranormal field when you find the right people. You just have to weed the weeds out to find the roses in the bunch. You get what I'm saying? It's like, because there's a lot of drama in this field, and I don't know why, dude. I have no idea why. It's like everybody brings their luggage and drops it off in this field, and that's not what this field is about. But it just seems like it's becoming more and more, especially with social media, you know. But the thing is that we have a great group of people that we talk to, and we're all about the research, and that's really what it's for me. Like from the minute I started my YouTube, it wasn't like I'm starting a YouTube and be the next Mr. Beast or I'm going to be the next Logan Paul. That was never my thing, or next Steve Huff or whatever. That was never my goal. My thing was it was a place to put my videos because I didn't have money to buy a storage for my computer at the time, and I had a crappy computer. And I tell you what, it's like now I'm glad that I can show people this amazing like clips of, you know, responses and communication and anything that I do in this field. And it's just a great way to get it out there, you know, but it comes with its drawbacks. I mean, then you get people that, you know, try to bash you online. You got to deal with that or your fake stuff. I don't let any of that bother me. Some people let it bother you, but you know what? I just am here for the research. You know, I'm here to find out what happened to me when I died and what I saw and experienced and to find out more answers, but not to kind of switch gears. What I wanted to ask you about your grandmother who showed up for your experience, your visitation. You said that she looked not like the older woman that you remember. She looked like a younger herself.
I mean that with respect when I say you didn't look like the
older
woman.
Yes, please.
She's looking down on me going, what are you saying?
Please, yes.
Don't break, Nando.
Yes.
You know, but yeah. So yeah, sorry, AJ, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought I'd cover myself before I upset
her. He's got himself in trouble.
Right. Hey, if something goes flying across your room later, she's there.
I know tell me about it. So
right. Hey, but what I wanted to say about it though was it's funny that you said that in that detail about how she looked. And the reason why I say that is because when I had a meeting reading after my dad passed and I hooked up with the meeting that I now work closely with, I didn't trust any mediums before her. Like, I literally didn't believe in any of it. I thought it was all just hoax. Like, yeah, someone could tap into this energy. Before I really knew energy and stuff about it, like on a scientific term, I just didn't believe anything of it. And a lot of them, people that I've seen are hoaxes and, you know, just trying to steal people's money. Well, with this lady, it wasn't that. She never was asked for money and does all free readings and stuff, which is cool. And it's just about helping people. And when she connected with my aunt, when she did a reading for my aunt, my dad came through in his 20s or 30s when he had a mustache, long hair. But then when I had my reading, she was like, oh, wow. She goes, wow, your dad looks so different. He looks like Mr. Clean. And the picture that I've shared since that time is me and him where we both have bald heads. And that's how he looked, before he passed. And it's funny because I actually asked Spirit about this in a communication session that I did. And they said the reason why that they do this, why they show themselves at that, like they'll show themselves like that, is because when we cross over, when we pass on or whatever, we can choose to show ourselves or whatever you want to call it in the time where we were the happiest. So like if say my 30s was my happiest, I died at 80, I'm not going to show myself at 80. I'm going to be in my happiest form, my happiest. If I guess according to spirit, if they crossed over, like I said, all theory. I don't know if any of the stuff I came through the box that I just told you was true, but from things that I've lined up with synchronicities, that's kind of funny that you've said that detail.
I do believe in. I do agree with you. Because growing up with my grandmother, she was older. She looked the age she should have been. To come
Be
back,
careful.
I know. Yeah, I keep looking up, and I'm like, I mean, with respect. I think she presented herself to me in a way of that's how she wanted me to remember her by. She was a very pretty, lady, and I think that's the way.
Pulling it back.
Pulling it back, baby.
I'm climbing out of my hole that I've digged.
I was about to pass you a shovel.
I know. But then another experience was this is when I had kids. Me, Sarah, and the three boys. Now, one night I was sat up watching TV, and nothing particularly was going wrong. It was just nice, chilled environment in the house. Yeah. Sarah was in bed, kids were in bed, and the door is slightly open. And I thought, this is a breeze coming through. And I know I wasn't awake, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But then my grandfather walked in to the room, like full apparition. I could see his eyes, his face. And, he was a cool Italian guy. Like with the caps, suit, he come in.
Chains,
and
the pinky ring.
Yeah. He had his ring on. And he literally didn't say anything to me, but he had literally sat on the sofa next to me. And, and then I looked at him and I wasn't scared, but I was like, wow. Because I know who he was. So I wasn't scared of him. But it didn't stop me running up the stairs and jumping on top of Sarah, telling her what happened. I literally ran. Definitely. And that's how I knew I was awake. But then for days after that, I could smell his tobacco because he smoked Old Auburn tobacco. And I don't know if you guys you might know of this, Robin, the licorice tobacco paper. And it gave a very distinctive smell,
Old Holborn had a smell enough anyway.
And I could smell that wherever I would go in the house. It was like he was still there, like he had left that scent of him in the house. But it was just clear as day that he was there. And like I said, I've not seen loads of stuff, but I've seen my family members have come to me, and that was like, it was so clear, it was unreal. Like, and this was later on in life, and it was amazing. And I think at that time, he was just letting me know that he's still around. There was no direct message. But when you think about it, when you talk to people that are not involved in the paranormal and they don't believe, they look at you like you've gone crazy. But you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what you've seen? That was just another experience I had.
No, that's awesome. It's funny that you said people look at you crazy because you're right. I mean, I tell you what, I look at myself crazy sometimes, especially when I'm explaining an experience that I had. So like a recent experience I was explaining to one of my friends. Now, I bother him with all my paranormal stuff, and he just won't even go near it because he's terrified. But I was telling the experience, and I was like, after I got done saying what happened, I was like, and I said all the synchronicities to make it understandable and everything of why I think this was this. And after I got done, I said to myself, wow, that sounds freaking stupid. That sounds insane. I mean, but I totally agree with what you went through, and I totally understand that it's real what you went through, because after I had my experience where I saw that full-bodied apparition twice and one time with my entire family solidly, that changed everything for me. That was my change to go into this field. Even though I had my near-death experience before it, that was my thing. And when you see something like that, especially like for you seeing your uncle, that's an awesome experience to see a loved one. I mean, scary, don't get me wrong, but
and I think, like you're saying, it sort of put me on the fence there where, there's more to this. I do believe after you pass on, there's more to life. We just don't know. I know people make claims about what happens to us when we pass on, but we don't really know. We don't know until we get there. We need to experience that for ourselves. But it does show, those sort of experience does show that there is more to life after we are done on this earth. And hopefully, if I could just do a little bit of what my grandparents had done, just making sure my kids always know that I'm around them. That would be a lovely feeling, because at the same time, it is a lovely feeling to know that I was very close to my grandfather, and, to have him come and say, the cool guy that he was. And that's how he presented himself to me, and it's like I was saying, my grandmother come in a way that I never remembered her by. But then my grandfather come in, the cool guy that he was, with his hat, with his suit and his that smell of the tobacco and his licorice paper, and you can't say it's not real because you've seen it for yourself. But
no, I know what you mean. It sounds totally crazy though. I totally get it. There is one question I do want to ask you about the smell and stuff, about you smelling the tobacco. But first, I just want to say one thing. Everyone, please go check out A View Beyond, the magazine. It's a paranormal magazine. It's absolutely amazing. Check it out. Just totally great. So I just want to say shout out to Drawing with Shadow. Shout out to A View Beyond. And like I said, Anthony, before, shout out to you, my friend, Wraith World Podcast. Love you guys. But what I wanted to ask you was, do you have a lot of experiences now as an investigator where you have smells and stuff that you could pick up on?
If I'm totally honest, I do rely more, and I depend on more of using technology-based stuff like the spirit box.
Of course, yeah.
I would never sit here and claim that I see things, all the time. That's not me, because I'll be lying. But there is subtle things that I've seen, like. But you got to remember, when you're going into an investigation and when you're going into a location, you're going in the dark. Your brain is sort of, your senses are heightened, but sometimes they play tricks on you. So you think you see something like a shadow figure walking past you, and in your head you're like, there's someone following, but that could be something very easily explained. Or you hear a sound, and you've got to bear in mind, like if you're outside doing an investigation, for example, and you're in a bit of a field area, and a car door slams shut. Now, from that sound, the sound travels. As it travels, the sound changes. So by the time you get to hear that sound, it might sound like something's walking in the bushes behind you. It could sound like something's touching. So, but you got to remember, you got to be open to those scenarios. People can sometimes be a bit too quick and go, "That's paranormal." Well, no, it isn't. And I don't mean that. I'm not trying. This is of my opinion. Sound travels, sound changes. Same with lighting. You could see something come through a window, for example, go out and investigate, and nothing's there. But how do you know that split second before someone's not there with a torch shining through? So you got to be very careful to what you're putting down to paranormal, and you got to be very, before you claim it on social media. And I think this is where some people go wrong. Is they put everything down to paranormal, the slightest sound, the slightest movement, and and sometimes you watch the videos and you can see, that the buildings that they're in, a lot of these older buildings, they're not well insulated, so there's going to be a draft coming through. But getting back to your question, I digressed a little bit. Since doing the paranormal investigations, yes, I believe I've seen certain things. I've witnessed, slight movement, but again, I don't let that cloud my judgment to, you've always got to be careful about what you're saying is paranormal, and you need to document it and really make sure you've got all the facts and the location, what it's like, the weather conditions and everything.
Actually, absolutely. But the thing, it wasn't about seeing. What I asked you was smelling. Have you had more incidences of that smell? Like, because you said you smelled the tobacco. Have you had other experiences while you were investigating that you've ever had that sense go off on your, without just noticing something randomly, not saying it's paranormal, but something that you couldn't explain at that moment that was like, oh, wow, that was a weird scent?
Yeah. So we were investigating a building in Portsmouth, in Hampshire. It's called Withering Manor. It's a really, really old, weird building, but we were up in the attic area. And we were sat there and everything was cool. And I sat there on my own for about 10 minutes and this weird smell. And I can't describe it. It's like, if I was to put, do you know, like the smell of rotten meat? Like when you've left it out for too long, it's got a really potent and a really nasty smell to it. Anyway, so I smelt that, and it was like quite strong, but it was in front of me. Like if I move my head around, I can smell it in front of me, and it was just so weird that smell was coming through. Because then later on, when I was talking to people about that specific room, that room was known to do illegal abortions in that room.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So, could that, I'm taking it down, it could be the smell of raw, like rotten meat, but could that be the smell of,
rotten flesh?
Listen, the reason why, well, it's funny you brought this experience up. The reason why I brought that up, this question, was because when you said you had that smell, that's a sign that I've never gotten from a family member, or from any paranormal experience I've ever had. I've never really dealt with smells. There's only been one occasion that I could really say maybe I had an experience. But the reason why I asked you that question is that just like being clairvoyant or clairaudience, all that stuff, there's a clair for smells, I believe. And I don't know if it's cognizant. I don't know what claircognizant or whatever it is. I'm not too sure the exact one at this moment. But there's one for that. And I believe that we all have these inner senses along with our outer senses that we do know of, like to this day. And I just believe that those inner senses will go off, like how, you had that experience, and you would have never known that rotting flesh smell, maybe, or who knows, it could have been nothing, but it's weird that it kind of synchronizes with the whole abortion thing. Could it be that? We don't know, but it's funny that could be one of your gifts, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, do you know what? Like I said, I don't claim to be gifted in any way.
Of course, no, yeah.
The thing for me, I've gone into this not knowing how in depth the paranormal is.
Of course.
You see it on TV. Let's be honest. A lot of the stuff, when you watch on TV, again, you got to be very careful because, unfortunately, TV shows are there to get viewings. So, and again, this is of my opinion. Not saying it is, but my opinion. They need to stage stuff to get viewings so they can continue what they're doing. But yeah, like I said, my experience are very minimal. I've not had those wow. I'm still waiting for that wow moment where, when I'm out on a location and see something relating to that location. That would be amazing.
Dude, you saw your uncle sitting next to you. What else do you need, Nando?
That's personal, though. That's personal.
No, I know, dude. I'm the same way.
Like we're relating to, that I get. That's amazing. But I want to see, so as we're investigating, like those moments. Do you know when you see it on TV, like the chair suddenly pulls out, or
I know what you mean.
Going on, and I would love to capture that sort of evidence and being able to share that with people.
Well, here's a question for you, right? Because let's twist it slightly, right? Is that I've seen apparitions before of people, right? But it's always been family members of Julie's. I have never, ever seen or had contact with anybody from my family. Now, if you're listening up there, come and see me. But you know what I mean? I find it strange. I have two grandfathers that have gone. I have two grandmothers that have gone. I have a cousin that's gone. I have an uncle that's gone. You know what I mean? I don't have a big family. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a big family at all. My family's tiny. But it's always people. And I've seen three clear apparitions in my lifetime. And it's only been of Julie's family members. And it's never been any of mine. And, I sometimes think to myself, well, I can see things, I can hear things, I can communicate sometimes, and why am I only seeing and communicating with people from Julie's side of the family, even though I got on really well with them? You know what I mean? One of them I didn't even know. One of them I hadn't even met.
Well, you know what it is, man. It's funny. A medium told me one time that the reason that could be is because you might be blocking yourself, not fully open when it comes to your family, and that could be the reason why your quote unquote gifts, as we call it, aren't working in that moment, because it's a little more personal when it comes to your family With someone else, your guards completely down. You know.
Trust me, I'm unblocking myself now. Anybody up there? Come on.
No, there's always an inner thing that we don't understand. I think that can block the connection. I truly don't think we completely, fully understand. Obviously, well, we don't truly understand how to do this communication. But tell me, what's one of the most amazing experiences you've had, Nando?
On an investigation.
On an investigation, yeah.
So I think one of it is this was earlier this year. We went to a place called Manor Farm. And we try and document everything. We do everything raw. We don't edit anything. So we go live and we literally will set a camera in front of what we're doing so people can see. We were in this old church. It was me and a guy called Luke that's on the team. And we had a cat ball, a very simple cat ball where if it gets touched, it flashes, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had it on the table and literally we were asking questions because we had the spirit box on. And we asked it, "Are you here?" And then you hear a voice saying, "I'm here." But as that happens, you see the cat ball just move across the camera. But bearing in mind, so when I'm talking about this altar, there's a big rope across it. So you can't actually go next to the altar to move it. And you can see me and Luke are in front of the camera. And all you see, bless Luke, because he's quite new again. And all you see is Luke's face sort of go, whoa. And then when we look back at the footage, you literally see the cat ball from here, and then it just like gently moves across on its own. So that was quite cool. That was.
You're over here. I want to see a chair move. I need this and that. You got a ball to move, dude. I mean, you're getting shit to move.
Listen, we're paranormal investigators. We always.
No, I know.
Let's be honest.
We always want more.
But
we're human, damn it.
That was quite a cool moment. The other one for me would be when we were with Brian. Brian Laverty, Hunterphobia Canada, and Lex Paranormal. So we took Brian to Royal Victoria Country Park. It was where, I don't know if you guys know of Florence Nightingale.
Yeah.
He was the nurse when it used to be a hospital.
Oh, wow.
But it goes back, and this hospital was absolutely huge, and I think it got burnt down, but there's a section of it still there that they've turned into a bit of like a cafe and a museum. But we're outside, and Brian was going around introducing everyone. So, hi, my name's Brian. This is Sarah. This is Lex. This is Nando. And then out of nowhere, it goes, hi, Nando. Now, I know people might say the Spirit Box is a radio station. It goes through a sweepstake, which I agree, it does. But how often would you hear the name Nando come through on the radio? My name is not, it's not a usual name that you hear. So when that come through, I was just like, oh, wow, that was quite funny. But then since then, and again, I've got this on footage as well that I can share with you guys after. Every time that we seem to use a spirit box, there's been a few other occasions my name keeps coming through. You know, we did Bursard Brickworks. It's an old it's a museum now, but it's where they used to do the bricks and build bricks and everything. And we were sat down, and again, we were introducing ourselves. We were sat in a circle. I think it was just me, Dan, and Luke again. And we started talking amongst ourselves, and my name just come through out of nowhere. And it's just like, but then I do think sometimes, could this be where they're saying my name? Could it be a family member? Like I said, I've experienced, especially with my grandfather, seeing him. Could this be him, like sort of protecting me in a way? Because some people see it, what we do is wrong and blah blah blah, which I don't agree with, as long as you're respectful. But for them to say my name specifically, it makes me think, could that be him, like sort of watching what I'm doing and letting me know that he's around? But again, that's an opinion. There's no hard evidence to say for sure. Could this be my brain tricking me to make me think it is my name? But when two other people hear it as well, it's hard to sort of debunk that. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm always open to debunk it. But
I agree. I totally agree, man. And that's why we always record, obviously, those type of sessions so that we can get, we can hear all the responses we do miss. One of our viewers, Pamela, she said the same spirits might actually be following you around, Nando. Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, and I agree. Could it be?
Yeah.
I've got such a strong connection with
Ellen,
grandfather that he's with me.
Yeah.
You know, but I think as we go through this journey and as we do more investigations, I'm sure we'll start picking up stuff and, you know, see what happens.
Yeah.
I have the same whenever we're out, because it doesn't matter how many people are out with me. Anytime we're doing a spirit box, and normally a question I ask is, can you say one of our names that's here now? And every single time, my mother-in-law, Christine, she goes by Chris, and it says Chris. It never says Robin. It never says anything else. You know, other people that are there, it's always Chris.
But just going back to what you were saying, Robin, you were saying about why do you think you're connecting with your partner's family instead of your own? Not saying that your partner has had any kind of bad times. We've all suffered in one way or the other. We've gone through bad experiences. But do you think your family don't come to you because they see that you're okay? I believe, and again,
I think that too.
An opinion. This is an opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but they can see that you're content, you're happy. And I think maybe my background, where I've had a few challenges over the years, shall we say, and some of those challenges has made me weak in myself, where lack of confidence, maybe, you know, maybe that's why they're still around to reassure me that
I don't want to sound.
I like that.
You can say it as it is. I'm not going to take any offense.
I don't want to sound disrespectful towards you, and I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily agree with that, and the only reason being that, yeah, in myself and my health, I might be all right, but you know, everything that we've been going through, you know, like obviously with Julie's illness and stuff like this, and you know, a couple of her family members and stuff dying, and I've been the person that's tried and had to hold it all together, you know, when everybody else was sort of, you know, feeling down. And there's times. Let me ask
you a question. Wait, hold on, stop you right there. Did you ever think to yourself the reason why you might be seeing her family members is because you are the one that has, one, the gift to be able to, two, you are the one that holds it together, so they know that she needs that reassurance right now the most because she has that disease. So what if they're doing that for you so that you can let her know to brighten her up? And maybe yours are with you, they're just not communicating right now because of you're connected with them for a reason. You know what I mean? I'm just not to interrupt you, but I just want to throw it out there.
No, I agree. It's quite possible, and that's absolutely fine. I haven't got a problem with communicating with anyone from her side of the family, but just when you're going through these times and you know, you're sort of struggling to hold things together, and you know, there's times you think to yourself, I could just do with a as well as going to sound silly, but a 5-minute chat, or you know, or even just to see, like my uncle. I was quite close to my uncle when he, you know, and then he obviously died, and it's like I could just really do with, you know, a bit of a boost in that way, you know, like
I think we all could.
Yeah, but it's like I'm not knocking her family, and if her family are listening, come and see me as well. I don't mind.
By the end of this show, we're all going to be there doing a prayer.
We're going to be all hexed because of you guys, you know.
But like, you get where I'm not trying to give a sob story or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to sort of say that there, you know, there has been times when, on not selfishly, but me personally, could have done with a little, you know, even a little appear, hello, I'm here, and then go.
Dude, let me be honest with you right now, and excuse my language, everybody, but fuck that shit. You be selfish, because sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need that reassurance. You need that help, because dude, there's times where I'll be outside, I'll be looking up at the sky, and I'm like, Dad, I need your help, man. I fucking need to talk to you right now. Or Graham, I miss you. Like, I need to talk to you. And you know what's crazy? Every time I'm crying my eyes out, I'm literally looking up at the sky and I'm doing that. Literally right after, whether it's an Uber I pick up, whether it's just anything, I'll meet somebody that will come into my life out of nowhere. and it'll have something to do with my father somehow. It'll be connected. And so be selfish, man. I mean, I get it, because I get so mad too, because my family, every time I do all these communication sessions, I was doing communication sessions for people from around the world. I was able to do it through StreamYard. I was able to do video calls, and we would run the boxes, and I would do it live. And then I would go back and review it and then send them that as well. And I tell you what, we would get their family members coming through every time that they would be able to verify on their own, which I wouldn't know any of the answers that they were getting, how to relate to any of it. And they'd be like, oh my God, that was this person. That was this person. And I would get so mad, because I'm like, I can help anybody around the world with this, with my connection, but I can't help myself. Why is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I agree with Nando with what he was saying to an extent, but then in my own head, there's like another extent above that, that I'm sort of looking for, and maybe I should be going like that instead, but I'm going like that. You know what I mean? But it's just like, why is nobody from my side coming to me? You know what I mean? And it's sort of, I want verification like anybody else does. If Judy's father, or if any of her family who have gone want to come and sit here with me and talk and stuff, and I can film it and stuff, I don't mind. You know what I mean? I really don't. But it's like when you look at it and think, I've never even had it like a smell from anyone, or a voice, or there's been zero from my side.
Yeah.
And I get that. You may have had experiences with your family, and another thing that I think, like, sometimes subtle things can happen that you can't explain, and that could be an indication that it is your family. And what you're saying is right. What I'm saying is what I believe. What you're saying is what you believe, and I think that's why we gel as a, when we can talk open.
Absolutely.
Because I don't disagree with what you're saying, Rob, and I agree. And what I say is an opinion. None of us are right or wrong, and I think you're looking for that clarification. And it just shows you've had your moments where you need to be able to connect for yourself, because wrong about being selfish. As I was saying to AJ in the back before we started, sometimes you need to be selfish. Sometimes you need to put you first. Especially, it sounds like you've gone through a lot. You get into that cycle where everyone's put first, which, as a father, as a husband, I get that. I would do that with my family. But sometimes you do need to take that step back and go, well, what about me? We sort of lose ourselves in everything else. But have you ever tried, maybe, and again, this is an opinion or maybe a suggestion, have you ever tried communicating directly with your family through, sitting there on your own, maybe put the spirit box on and see if could it be the case that they're waiting for you to go to them before they just come to you?
Well, I like that. It could be, but AJ and me have tried it, and the thing is, I know that's obviously no, I know, but this is what I'm going to say, right? I know that's obviously yourself that they wouldn't know, but we've done spirit boxes, and we've asked for family friends, but not necessarily of mine, but like my sister's friend, for instance.
Of course.
And she came through, and it's like whenever we asked for my uncle, nothing. You know what I mean? We asked for other people, that's not necessarily connected relation wise to me.
Yeah.
And they'll come through and say, and then I'll say to AJ, right, well, I will ask for such and such, and he'll ask for that. Nothing.
Yeah, you won't get an answer. And dude, I'm gonna be honest. I really truly think, just like how Drawing with Shadow said, gifted people not being able to communicate or with their own relation with their own family is more common than you think. And it's funny that he says that, because I totally agree with what he's saying. I think when we're connecting with your sister's friend, say, we both don't have relation to that friend. I mean, yeah, or you might be friends with her or whatever, but there's not that connection with her like your sister has. So we're taking that connection of ours away from the situation. And I really do think that that's a big part in communication, because it's so hard for me to connect with. I mean, the only one that comes through at all with my family, and I haven't had anybody come through, except for subtle signs like Nando talked about, pennies, feathers, certain things that I know it's them. The only person is my father, and he'll come through and say his name every single time I turn on the box. He'll let me know he's there, and it's an amazing feeling to have to be able to, do that and talk to him. And another person just said, actually Raymond, he just said, yeah, I struggle with communicating with so many people in my family. It's not a lack of love for them. There's a barrier between what's being said and understood to the point that we don't talk. And I wonder if that can also cause, connection problems too. You know what I mean? With having problems with family,
Is or is it? I've often sorry, Nando. I've often thought of this one. Is it a case of what we've spoke about one time before? Is it a case of the other side not being allowed to tell you events that could happen, that will happen, or talk about events that have happened? So the only other thing that I can think of is that family members are not allowed to come through because they're afraid of what they will tell you if something bad's going to happen to you in 3 months, for instance. They're maybe afraid of of changing the timeline.
I tell you what, there could be a bunch of different things. I mean, Nando, you want to say what we're going to say, because I'm going to switch this over to something else. But
what I was going to say is, and again, don't take this the wrong way when I say this, Robin. Again,
go ahead.
Listen, you never have to say that with us. You're our brother. We know.
But when you're talking personal, you always like to be respectful. We're talking about someone's family, and you never want to. But sometimes when you look into spirits, people say spirits have different stages. Like sometimes you got one spirit and you get another spirit. Now, it could be something when they're on this living planet that, we get characters that are quite strong, like really loud, strong characters. And sometimes you get casted in the back, don't you? Where this character's so big, you don't have a voice. Could it be a case of your wife's family that are quite big characters and they've got quite strong energy that are able to communicate with you, where, not saying that they are, but again, it could be something where your family are not, their energy is not strong enough, it's not able to come through, so they're being blocked just because of your connection with your partner's family. And
it could possibly be,
because they do say that spirits have different sources of energy, and it takes a lot for them to be able to build up themselves. Like I've said, and just to be clear, with my experiences, I've never actually asked it to happen, if that makes sense. I'm grateful for it, but I've never gone out and looked for it. And sometimes it's come at the moments where I've needed it the most. And that's why I'm on the opinion that, could it be they know that I'm struggling, so they've just come in and sort of just, if they could, they would put their arm around their shoulder if they were still here. And I think that's what they're trying to do for me. But again, we all have opinions and no one's right or wrong. We're just trying to make sense of it. And we're looking at a personal situation, and all our situations are different, and we all come in at different angles. And every one of us have a right to have that opinion, and no one is wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. Not even AJ. It's just we need to accept and be able to, put our opinions across without anyone taking offense. And I think that's why everyone is very sketchy at times to have an open and
on edge too.
Do you know what I mean? Because you do get people that take it the wrong way, and it's like, no, wait there, hold up. I'm not saying I'm right, but this is my opinion. Robin, you come in and you agree to a certain extent. It's all good, but we all have different beliefs, and I think it could be a number of reasons, Robin. But I bet you anything, you've had subtle experiences that you've not caught where your family have been around you, because I do believe very strongly, right? Even if they don't physically come to you or physically let you know that they're there, they are around you.
Yeah.
I do not believe, especially when you're very close, like you were saying about your uncle. I've always been very close to my grandfather, and I know for a fact he is with me, I would say 90% of my time here. He is with me one way or the other. I don't always, like I said, I don't always pick up on him, but I do know he's one person I can always say that he's around me.
No, Nando, I don't want to switch the subject, but I don't want to switch the topic quickly. But if I want to get off this topic, I want to say to you, one, thank you for coming on. But two, I want to know some techniques that you use out in the field? Or what are some experimental stuff that you do out in the field? Because I know you're into science, man, like me. And I know, you try different experiments. So tell me, what are some of your favorite? What are some that you do? What are some of your experimental?
So one of the favorites got to be the EVP recordings.
Love them.
I think they're one of the hardest things to debunk. If you're picking up a voice that no one else is there, and it's not your own, that's hard to debunk. Necrophonic, we've used that. Now, I'm a bit on the fence with this one. The reason being is, not saying it is the case, but a lot of these apps are designed to throw out words, and, it could be just at that precise moment, it gives you the word that you want. But necrophonic, it doesn't work on signals or anything, because you could turn the phone on to airplane mode and it works absolutely fine. You can still get into it without any problem.
Yeah, because it has a bank in it, and the bank actually is phonemes. It's not words. So it has no words in the entire device. There's absolutely no words. If you actually have a word that's clear as day that comes out, it's actually something manipulating the device. It's actually phonemes that Keith Weldon has actually programmed into it, and he mixed them in a way of clips. So that's why they're gibberish and they sound like weird and shit, because they're slowed down, reversed, all messed up. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people have a false positive when they ask yes or no questions, because when you get a yes, there's a lot of things in that app
that's going on in the background as well. So
yeah.
On the fence, but EVP, the Spirit Box, I do like the Spirit, the SB7.
Oh yeah.
Because again, even though it goes through a radio sweep, there's certain words that it tells you. We did it. We went to an old mansion in Manchester. I'm trying to think what the name of it is now.
Antwerp.
Antwerp. Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Antwerp. Wow. Robin, you saved me, man.
You damn UK people.
And we were there. Have you been there, Robin?
I haven't been. I keep meaning to go, but apparently now it was classed as abandoned at one point, but now you've got a book to go there.
Yeah, because the people that own it actually live on the other side of the mansion. They live on the upstairs. But we were downstairs in the basement, and we had the Spirit Box on. And we were just like trying to think of different ways of communicating with the spirit, because sometimes they don't want to give you direct information. So we come up with, it's like a game. Like, can you repeat the word? I'm going to say a random word. Can you repeat it? And at that moment, I thought, this ain't going to work, and I'll do it. But anyway, so we were going around, and then I think Dan, he turned around and goes, can you say pineapple? And then we wait, because you got to give a bit. And then clear as day, it come out pineapple.
Yep.
Right. And that was amazing. And we were getting really good responses, because we went around a few times, and there was, I don't know why, but the seller had a lot of mannequins in, like, body parts of it. And there was
I hate mannequins.
And then and then he said, can you say what I'm holding? And it said hand, because it was part of the mannequin. So
see?
But equipment, again, like I said, with a lot of the stuff that we do, we got to be careful. Like, when you're using the EMF meters and everything like that, you got to be so careful when it flickers. You got to be careful. Is there electrical things around that's making that flicker that you've not caught yet?
Even your IR light will make it go.
Yeah. So, and what we tend to do, we do like a sweep of the building just to get a feel for it, and, trying to, work out the rooms that have hardly anything there and just sort of work there.
Hey, Charles.
How we doing?
My family lives in Flower Mound, so welcome, Texas.
Yeah, and in Antwerp Mansion, they've got that big mural that goes up the stairs, haven't they?
Yeah. It's a weird feel. I must be honest, it was weird, because we slept in there that night. We spent the whole night there. And
what experiment you do besides, like, well, what did you end up doing? Because I know you said EVPs, you said spirit boxes, but tell me, was there any other like experimental type stuff that you do?
Yeah. So one thing we do tend to do, and this is something slightly different. So if you're in a group of people, we get people to stand facing the wall, for example, and we ask the spirits to go around and touch someone on the shoulder. and we all know where we're positioned, so we're not near each other. And then you sometimes get like spirits that will come up and physically touch you on the shoulder.
Oh, that's cool.
So we ask for physical contact as well. You know, we don't solely rely on equipment. We try and do different things to, you know, do that. You know, there's some experiments that we've tried that I look at and I think it's not for me. But a lot of it is based on your senses as well. I do try and work more now with, you know, teaching myself how to see things, what to know could be paranormal, what is not, using your ears and things like that. I think the most important piece of equipment is yourself.
Dude, I tell you what, man, the older that I got and the more experience I get in this field, it has become 90% my senses, what I'm feeling in the environment, things I'm experiencing, and 10% basically all scientific type equipment, you know what I mean? But the thing of the matter is like, obviously you always got to make the environment controlled if you're doing an experiment and stuff like that, because you don't want anything to mess up like the EMF and the EIR, all that stupid stuff. But the thing is that like, I kind of lost where I was going with this, but the point I was trying to make, I think, was that I love how you guys are doing those type of experiments and stuff, like turning your face towards the wall, doing certain stuff like that, using this equipment, because any new type of experiment that we can use, even that wall, like facing the wall and having, you know, spirit touch you, that's using a sense, you know what I mean? That's using feeling. And, you know, to have an experience where you're actually asking it and then it happens. The only problem, so hard to document for people to understand it.
Do you know, that's it is hard to document, because I think, you know, the field unfortunately is reliant on more technology based. You know, people need to see it, and I think the problem is because there are so many fakers. Am I allowed to say that on the show?
No, yeah, you can say fakers. Yeah.
But because you've got so many fakers that claim to, oh, I've been taken over. Oh, this has happened to me. Suddenly, they're walking and suddenly they collapse. You know, and it's just so frustrating because sometimes you can have that physical connection with a spirit where it puts people off telling other people because they're like, oh, I don't want to be branded as one of these fakers because there's so many of them. But I think everyone in the paranormal field that are doing it the right way can hand on heart say they've had some kind of paranormal experience where they've been touched. Or, you know, I'll give you one example if it's all right. I don't want to.
No, dude, please.
We held an event at a place in Portsmouth again called Fort Whitley.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a gentleman and he was walking down the tunnel with me just before we started the investigation.
Yeah.
And he goes, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe in any of this. And I was like, mate, do you know what? That's fine. I'm happy that you've come. You know, I'm happy that you're willing to participate. You know, he was doing it more for his missus and his missus' mother because they're really into it. Anyway, so we're stood in the tunnel, and this is where the necrophonic comes into it. Like I said, certain things have happened where it makes me think this app could actually work. So we're stood and we started doing a call out. Nothing was happening. And I was like, okay, let's put the person that don't believe in anything into the separate room. Like that's, you know, there's a little tunnel. And I was like, you know, you don't believe in any of this. So nothing's going to happen. You know, that's, you know. But anyway, so he stood in there and I was like, okay, can you tell me the person's name that's gone into the tunnel on his own? It said his name, clear as day. Right?
Wow.
Okay. Could it be a coincidence? Maybe. Okay, that's fine. Let's go on. So we're like, okay, so you know who he is. Can you tell us something about him? It said his partner's name and his sister's name, one after the other, within seconds.
Wow.
Right? So we don't have a clue what's going on. And then suddenly it's like, I'm here with you. And then we're like, okay, it said a full sentence, I'm here with you. And then we said, I'm not going to say the guy's name because he does watch a lot of these podcasts. And I said, you know, where it's personal, you got to be mindful. But we looked over and goes, do you know who this could be? And he goes, yeah, I think it is. But I'll go, do you want to give him his name? And he was like, no, let's see what happens. Who is this? Is your dad? His dad. Wow. And then I'll go, well, can you do something else? Like touch him or put. And as I said it, he goes, something's just pulled my hair. Right.
Wow.
So we broke for, you know, like a bit of a tea break. He went back up to the hub area where we set up our, refreshments and everything. And I kid you not, from a guy that said to me about an hour before, I don't believe in it, he was sat in the chair nearly in tears. His partner and her mother had to cuddle him, and you see the change. He was not expecting it. And one of the last messages before we did break, he goes, "You need to carry on with what you're doing." And it come out in a full sentence. And we said to him, "Do you understand anything that happened?" And he goes, "I understand every message I just got." But the change in what he went through was phenomenal. And you can't debunk.
That's the reason why I do this work. Not to interrupt you, but this is the reason why I do this work, is because of that experience right there. Because somebody who probably would have never done anything like this, got dragged along, doesn't believe, all of a sudden has the most amazing experience with one of their loved ones, especially somebody that they miss but aren't going to be open to you about it, and then break down in front of you because they had an experience. And that's the reason why I express this field so much, and why I share videos of communication sessions and stuff, because when there's undeniable stuff like that, I can't say that we're communicating with a ghost that looks like a sheet floating in the middle of the air. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what we're actually communicating with, but I do know that something is manipulating these devices and communicating through them, saying personal things to us that it should not be saying, along with swears that should not be allowed on the radio. And that's what I love the most, is when I get a swear like a F you or this from an angry spirit or something at first, because right there through an SB7, it's not going to come on the radio. You're not going to hear F you on the radio. You know what I mean? So how do you explain that? You know what I'm saying? So it's unexplainable things like that. And I express it because there could be someone out there that I want them to go out and experience this, even if it's not even in their wheelhouse or they don't, believe. Just go out and try it, because you could have the best experience of your life like that guy did.
Yeah, and I think just to a lot of people that bash what we do, I put it down to 3 reasons. One, they got nothing better to do. They're just, in my opinion, trolls. So, go away and find something else to do. 2, they haven't got the intelligence, the know-how to do that, what we do themselves. So what do? They try and beat other people down that are working hard and trying to, show people what we can do in this field. And 3, it's jealousy. One of the biggest things, the green-eyed monster comes out in a lot of people in different ways. And I think sometimes when it's paranormal investigators on paranormal investigators, is because one side of it is not happy because one person might be doing a little bit better. But
I think that's the big reason.
I think if you take a step back, no one's doing better than others. We're just doing it our own way, and we're just putting piecing together what we're finding. Robin's done things which I think is great. He's done a series on the celebrity graves, and I think that's great. We're all doing different things and getting different evidence. Yeah. Why have we got a bitch about it? Just because Robin's doing something that I haven't done, does that make it any different? No, he's done something.
Because I've often said, and this is a motto I have in this field, is that a lot of these people who we would call fakers, again, I'm not going to mention names, but they are out there, and we know who they are, and they may have 25,000 subscribers on their channel, and I've got 550, but I'd rather go up slowly by using 100% real evidence than go up drastically fast faking stuff.
And one thing that I say that sort of relates to that is these people that got the big YouTube channels and all these subscribers and everything that we know have staged certain evidence. That's great for them. You're happy to go through your life deep down knowing that you're a liar. You're deceiving people. You're deceiving people. You're making people believe something that's not true and disrespecting the locations and the history. If you're happy to go through life like that, then good on you. But I would rather live my life of, do you know what? The evidence I present might be minimal, but at least I can say this is true. This is facts of what I've found. And at least I'll go to bed at night knowing that I've given people a true insight of what we do. Because sometimes we go on a live and we sit there and nothing happens at all. But we don't stop recording. We will continue recording. And now people watch us, having a laugh, me and Luke will start talking about something totally different,
Yep.
because I don't believe that we should just film the good stuff. It would be great to do it all the time, but we need to show people that there are nights that we will sit in the tunnel for 6 hours and absolutely jack shit happens. But it's the truth.
Well, hey, tell me
Well,
what your
Brad
opinion is
says,
on this.
preach it, Nando.
I know. Hold on. All right. Hey, Nando, what do you think about this? Pamela, I completely 100% agree with what you just said in the comments. She says, yes, the more one investigates, the more likely one is to have a personal experience. Also, I think one actually becomes more sensitive to the possibility of something happening. It's like one becomes more attuned to that other dimension, be it ghosts or whatever. And what's great about her saying that is I have noticed that in myself. My connection has grown. The more that I go to, certain places, or I go to, so even cemeteries that I love going to, the real old ones, like I became more attuned, and then adding meditation in it too, that's helped a lot with my connection. I mean, do you do anything to further your connection?
I'm always how can I? So the way I go into, like, I don't do this with everyone, but I always think about loved ones around me. So I always make sure that the people that mean the most to me, like I said, my grandfather is a big person to me, because growing up, I would go to his shop. He owned an old antique shop, for example, and I would sort of get myself in the mindset of remembering those moments. And I think that helps me to remain grounded and, not fear what I might be going into. So and I do use that before I do an investigation. As time's gone on, do I feel more connected to places and feel more things? Yes, I think, because you're opening yourself up in a way that you don't realize sometimes. I've gone in this not knowing how, like I said before, how in depth the paranormal is, and the kind of things. And I think the more experiments that we're doing, not just with equipment, but using our own bodies, you're opening yourself up naturally to allow things to come to you. So I do think I've connected more with spirits, or with things that could be normal. And as I said, could be paranormal. Not saying it is, but could be. But that's something for me to evidence and document, and then continue that journey and put it all together to say, well, this is what's happened from day one, and this is how it's gone throughout the journey. So
Amen to that. Go ahead, Robin. You want to ask something? Because I'm going to keep going if not.
No, go ahead. Honestly, go ahead.
All right. So
my
other question I wanted to ask was, so how do you document your evidence? Is it just by video? Do you write stuff down? Because for me, I have notebooks of stuff written down, like all types of stuff. I mean, I was even journaling sleep, like dreams and stuff, for a while, because I was having a lot of like premonitions and stuff that were coming true. But how do you write down yours? I mean, how do you do yours? How do you do it?
So a bit like what you do. So one of the biggest things is having cameras set up at locations. So we will have cameras set up at specific locations. And when we return to ones that we've been to before, you sort of get an understanding of which are the hot spots, shall we say, for, things to happen, like equipment going off, tables being, moved. So you set up cameras. If something happens specific to a person or something to us, we write it all down. So at the end of the evening, we put it all together. So, because I think because sometimes we separate into separate teams. We do different things, and come together at the end of the evening, we can say, well, Sarah did this in the barn, for example, and got this. We had exactly the same thing, but we're in there at different times. Yep. So we do write down a lot of the stuff as well. Audio is a big thing, so we're all putting like EVP recorders out, and then going through the EVP recording, because I think other thing people don't realize is how much work is that you got to go through after the event or after the investigation.
I know.
Because sometimes, especially with cameras, things can happen that you've not even seen until you've investigated it. Do you know what I mean? And
you can't even watch the footage once either, because you're gonna miss it, especially if there's 8 hours on that footage. You're like, dude. You know what I noticed too, man? When I went to Montana and I had like 4 cameras with me, I realized that like being there for like 7 hours or 9 hours or whatever it was, I had so much damn footage, dude, to look through. I am not even done yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how much footage, and I don't think people realize how much goes in, goes into it and stuff like that. So it's great to talk about.
It's a lot, and we can be here all night and talk about different things. Again, people need to realize there's a lot of stuff that is involved. It's not just put a camera up, I've caught something. You've got to go back and think logically about everything that you do. You can't just put it down to paranormal. You got to be careful, because there's certain things like the floors. It could be old flooring. It can creak. There's so many different things, and I think sometimes people are too quick to say this is paranormal when actually there's a logical answer. And the same with us. Sometimes we get excited, but then you forget to think logically because you're in that moment and you're like, wow. But then when you go back to it, you need to think and make sure that you're clear and everything 100%.
I'll show you this, right? Sorry, before we go any further. I got this as a gift one time, right? And I keep forgetting to use it all the time. No, look at this.
Paranormal investigation logbook. That, I tell you what, those are great to have, actually, because I used to have one myself, and those actually have a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, there's a lot. I tell you what, Nando, I just want to say it's great. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, that's awesome. Hold on, show it again, because I'm going to put you full screen. Go ahead. No, the inside.
That way. Yep. Right, and then the pages inside, you can mark down your location. Location, what date you were there, all the stuff that happened. So,
anyone listening on Spotify, Iheart Radio, any Google Podcasts, Amazon, all that kind of stuff, if you want to see what Robin just held up, just go to our Facebook. You'll be able to see it on there.
It's called Paranormal Investigation Logbook.
Yeah, but what I want to say, Nando, before rudely being interrupted by my UK best friend. No, I'm just joking. But
anyway,
nobody cares about your handy dandy notebook. Damn it. No, I'm just joking. But what I wanted to say was, it's so good to hear someone, especially a team, that's writing stuff down still, because I know a lot of people that don't do that. They'll more like type it, or they'll type certain things, or they'll just have like a little notebook and then they'll transfer it over to something else. But I'm old school, man, with the paper stuff. I think I got that from my dad always doing it, but I have to write stuff down because there's stuff that I'll like forget if I don't, and it's like I'll have notebooks of just stuff written places, it's bad. But I just want to say, man, thank you so much for coming on. I do want to announce one thing, and that was in the new year, I was going to start doing like a couple weeks of paranormal investigation classes, and I wanted to actually see, Nando, if you would join me in doing these free classes for people, and maybe just give them some insight that we have. I mean, we're not, like we said, nobody's experts, but I see a lot of people charging so much money to help these new people get into the field, and I'd rather just do it for free, man, because it's simple.
I'll be up for that. We can put equipment up that we use, explain the technology behind it, and if people are interested, I'll be happy to take part in that. But again, one thing I would say is it's all opinion based. Like, don't take it. That's the thing. People, if they want to get into the paranormal, they need to do it for themselves, like we've all done. The only way that you're going to find out real evidence and how things work is by doing it your own way. Never try and be someone else. Just be who you are, and that's the best way to investigate. And that's the way I would leave it on that.
You know what? I'm going to end it on that. But I tell you what, that was awesome as an ending right there. I don't even want to talk anymore, actually, because that just totally threw me off my game right there. That was good, Nick. That was like a speech and a half right there. I like that. But,
you've got him speechless, Nando. You've got him speechless.
See,
I can shut AJ up. Go on me.
Right?
Seriously. But yeah, I just want to say thank you, man, so much for coming on. But yeah, to all the viewers, we're going to be doing in the new year, and have Nando with me. We're going to do free classes for new people who want to get into this field. Even spirit communication, show you like techniques that I use that I've helped others with, and that work for me. And we'll show evidence clips, and we'll talk about the equipment, and talk about logging, and just doing real paranormal investigation work and stuff. So if you guys are interested, we're gonna do that in the new year. It's gonna be free. We're not charging nobody. There's too many people out there charging $200 for paranormal investigation classes, which is crazy. But we're always going to do classes for free with us. I mean, it's like Nando just said, it's everyone is on their own journey in this paranormal field. You have to be yourself. You have to do it for yourself, no matter what. I mean, my evidence will never be your evidence. Your evidence will never be mine. Robin's will never be ours, and that's just something that we have in this field. But Nando, shout out where they can find you at. I'm going to put you full screen, shout out everything, and let them know what's up.
So you can find us on www.portaltotheparanormal.co.uk. We are on Facebook, Portal to the Paranormal, Instagram again, and we're also on TikTok as well. So if you want to, and we highlight a lot of our evidence on TikTok. So if you want to head to there and have a look, please feel free to. And if you ever want to reach out, if you ever got a question about the paranormal, again, feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
That is awesome, man. Well, Nando, man, again, for like the 15th time, thank you so much for coming on, man. Everyone will be seeing Nando on as a guest host from time to time because he's just an awesome dude. And I love your family, man. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, my friend.
And you guys,
absolutely.
And to all the viewers, Merry Christmas to you guys. If we don't see you before the holidays, hopefully we will, though. And he will be coming to your chimney, so everyone light a fire. Nando, love you, my brother. I will see you soon.
Thanks for having me on, guys, and thank you for all the questions from the audience as well. It's been great tonight.
Not a problem.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Take care.
Wow, man. Awesome, dude. Awesome show, man. I had such a great time talking to Nando. And, from the couple weeks ago when you were dealing with some things and I had him on, man, it was just awesome because he runs a podcast. He knows, all that stuff. So he was immediately asking questions that I never thought of. And just very intelligent the way he looks at things. And I love that about Nando. And that's why I think also why we click so well, all of us. Because we're learning from each and every one of us, and everyone that comes on this show and Nando's show and all this stuff, they all learn from each other. And I think that this was this field has to be about, right, man? We have to work with each other because we can only accomplish like a lot if we work together. If not, this progress is going to be so small, like it's been for decades. I mean, there's been some leaps and bounds, but we need some giant stuff. We're still, we need some clear communication, some clear stuff, some compound evidence that we can, use. And I think that we can do it. And I think that in the next few years, if people start working together and it keeps going the way that it is with growth, I hope this field really becomes something in the scientific aspect.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go through your life as an investigator, not wanting to communicate with anybody, and wanting to go on your own and wanting to do things on your own and fake stuff and all that, and it's just welcome to your own life of being a loner.
No, you're right, man. You're right.
Welcome to your life of being irrelevant, because these people who do that, and we talk to anybody. And I don't mean that in a funny way. We talk to anybody. We'll have the podcast. We can bring people on. We can find out what they're like. Yes, come back to the very start of the podcast. We had an experience that wasn't very nice. Someone, but this is the way it goes. We only find these things out when we talk to people. If you're not willing to work with people, if you're not willing to talk to people, if you think you're better than anybody else, you're living on the island of irrelevancy.
A lot in this field gets caught up nowadays with fame and YouTube and stuff like that. And one thing that I want to teach people, especially with this field, is just to know that it's got to be a personal journey. It's not a get rich quick. It's not a get famous. I mean, if you want to fix it, by all means, or if you're looking for a TV show and you're all about entertainment and you don't care about this work at all, I mean, then that's up to you. But I tell you what, the entities or whatever we talk to, the spirits, whatever you want to call them, this energy, they will figure it out for themselves what to do with people that fake stuff. And I believe that a lot of people have certain bad experiences when they do mess with things they don't understand too much. But anyway, man, this has been a great show. I want to leave with one thing, and that is, hi, I'm Jason, and this is my Momoa.
Oh my God. Again.
Love it. Hey, my name's AJ Capasso. I am your host and founder of Talking with the Source. I'm here with my great friend.
It's Robin from Iheart Paranormal and Talking with the Source.
And you have watched another episode of Talking with the Source. See you again soon. Later.
Bye.